Smith, First Take, Big Perk, all together, came on today and gave huge compliments towards Caitlin Clark, huge praise. And not only there, they were on Twitter as well, giving love to Caitlin Clark, and people seem to not like it, man.
Caitlin Clark put on a show in our old stomping grounds in Iowa versus Brasilia.
At Thanksgiving dinner, Stephen A. Smith just blew out like your uncle. However, it had nothing to do with LeBron or the Cowboys this time. No, not at all. The main focus was on Caitlin Clark's potential to win MVP as a rookie. Yes, Stephen A. made the wildest, most entertaining argument ever while going full Shakespeare meets ESPN, yelling, shouting, and possibly perspiring through his suit. Stephen A. could shout you into agreement if Caitlin isn't your MVP yet, so fasten your seatbelts.
Expectations for Caitlin Clark this season.
Man, Stephen A., she is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially MVP type conversation things.
Stephen A. Smith is a multifaceted individual. Subtle is not one of them. They are loud, passionate, and averse to quiet. It is more of an oral earthquake than a discussion when he launches into a monologue. And this time, Caitlin Clark, the epicenter of the earthquake. Yes, the WNBA's newest walking bucket, logo sniper, and part-time ego crusher has caused Mr. Volume Level 100 to erupt into verbal fireworks, demonstrating why she could be this season's MVP.
Including this three-pointer that was deeper than the three she hit when she broke the all-time NCAA score record. Big Perk, what are your expectations for Caitlin Clark this season?
Man, Stephen A., she is just different. She's special. Just a different type of electricity, man. Did you hear the roar of the crowd while that shot was in flight? Like, I'm expecting big things from her, especially MVP type conversation things. Like, I think she's ready. She know it's her second year. She know what type of physicality is going to take. Look like she's always in great shape, never afraid of the moment. Again, we're talking about Caitlin Clark here. The spotlight been on her for years. She's not going to shy away from it. I expect her to be in the MVP conversation.
Well, let's remember this. Last year, in her rookie campaign, it was immediately after she had gone to the national championship game in the NCAA tournament, and then less than 2 months later, she's got a WNBA season where she started and played all 40 games, finished as a unanimous Rookie of the Year, all WNBA first team, finished fourth in league MVP votings, and then I'm looking at the regular season leading.
Let's face it, Stephen A. is more than just a talker. No, this dude is a performer. He doesn't get together to talk about basketball. He throws logic around like confetti, yells rhetorical questions at the furniture, and holds the table hostage. And you could tell it was only a matter of time until Smith began a full-fledged theatrical performance about Caitlin Clark when she joined the WNBA and began casually pulling up from the zip code next door. And he really did deliver. Stephen A. stated what we all already knew but were too afraid to say out in a magnificent, caffeinated burst of words, finger jabs, and dubious analogies. That girl may be Caitlin Clark. MVP caliber. The kind of give me the damn ball and get out of the way player who causes front offices to regret every draft selection made before her and seasoned defenders to second-guess their life decisions.
Leading all rookies in scoring, field goals made, three-point field goals made, assists, steals, and minutes. She's the real deal. Make no mistake about it.
And yet, like a man under the influence of the basketball gods, he was dismantling it. When he leaped into his hot take with the grace of a rhino performing ballet halfway between "She's a superstar" and "It's not just the points," you could almost hear the ESPN cameras cringe. He most likely broke a microphone and frightened a few producers. However, the message is quite obvious. Logo threes are being drained by her like layups. Additionally, she's using peanut butter to make defenders appear to be moving in slow motion. It's not overstated. That's only Tuesday for Caitlin Clark. This is not to suggest that Stephen A. had an epiphany. Let's not act as though the dude hasn't been a part of the Caitlin Clark craze for longer than the majority of us have been aware of the WNBA. Our dreams had a 4-point arc. He has been supporting her as if she were the second coming of Steph Curry, with a dash of Sue Bird's court vision and Diana Taurasi's competitive anger, but with better TikTok angles.
What does she mean to women's sports?
I just think that she's elevating the profile of women's sports in a way that most women should deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate. She's a phenomenal player. She's a phenomenal shooter. I call her the Steph Curry of women's basketball. I've been calling her that since last year.
However, this is where things really started to get dramatic. Smith didn't just casually mention that Caitlin Clark might win MVP. No. He made it quite evident that she ought to be the MVP at the moment. In other words, given that a true superstar is mistreating professional sportsmen, why are we even bothering with the typical MVP discussion? It wasn't merely a recommendation. It was a pronouncement, a daring statement that reverberated through the airways with the authority one would anticipate from someone who has witnessed every sport in history and understands what greatness looks like. As if to say, forget waiting, Smith's statements effectively took the conversation to a different level. Take a look at what's going on. The connotation was very evident. Caitlin Clark wasn't only there to compete. She arrived to assume control. She came to change the game and make people reconsider what it means to be so dominant. The MVP controversy was no longer only a theoretical, dubious topic for sports enthusiasts. It developed into a full-fledged treatise on television. Millions of screens appeared to be abruptly filled with the kind of intense fervor typically associated with playoff games and political confrontations.
You want to promote the sport. You put that girl up in there, and people were appalled at that notion.
But
that was
Stephen
the
A.,
subject.
Why limit yourself to MVP, though? To be honest, that could be underestimating it. Let's pause to consider how ridiculous Caitlin Clark's debut season has been. This is more than simply a promising beginning. Data experts are murmuring about efficiency ratings and true shooting percentages while rocking back and forth in a corner in this statistical fever dream. She's grabbing rebounds like she had magnets in her hands, giving out assists with the dexterity of a surgeon, and scoring points like she's cultivating VC in a video game. Not to be overlooked are the fractured ankles. Because of her breakthrough, several defenders now have lifetime appointments for physical therapy. She appears to be using cheat codes while she plays the game, arriving from the parking lot as if it were her inheritance. Her range is insulting. Her ability to remain composed under pressure is surgical. You believe she was created at a top-secret government facility with the goal of producing the ideal basketball player. Diana Taurasi, Steph Curry, and a cold-blooded killer in equal measure. This is the kind of rookie campaign that burns expectations and rewrites the rules.
What's crazy is you had Monica McNutt, Andrea, Shanae, all on the panel right before the game, and they had a graphic, an interesting graphic that popped up, showing that Caitlin Clark had the best odds to win the MVP this year.
Caitlin Clark is more than simply a budding celebrity. She is the kind of force that makes you question whether the WNBA deliberately chose to introduce a generational cheat code into the league in order to upend the status quo. She is redefining the ideal appearance of a rookie. After a terrible 2 for 111 shooting night, most rookies are expected to struggle a little, get lost in a few defensive rotations, or perhaps get benched. But no, Caitlin. She arrives, drops 30, hits a buzzer beater, and goes on to sign autographs for children who are crying while also destroying defensive strategies created by mortgaged grown-ups. When he noticed this, Stephen A. took the usual action. He blew up. But let's not overlook this moment's true genius. He wasn't merely complimenting her. He complimented her with the intensity of a man attempting to win a discussion, prepare a Thanksgiving meal, and lead a gospel chorus at a volume that was roughly 3 octaves above normal. You could swear he was going to levitate at one point.
So let's start with our 2025 WNBA MVP, and that has to go to the one and only Caitlin Clark. You can say I'm glazing, you can say I'm hyping her up too much, but I truly think that this second year for Caitlin Clark is going to be like nothing we have ever seen.
The inevitable parallels followed because, let's be honest, Stephen A. Smith can't spend 5 minutes without bringing up some legendary name, as if it were an uncontrollable reflex. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird are referred to as the Holy Trinity of basketball. Stephen A. tore through them as if he were racing through my team cards in NBA 2K in an attempt to get the ideal lineup. He didn't miss a beat. As he listed the names of basketball legends from every era, you could practically hear him mentally counting the stars. Here's the problem, though. None of that was necessary for Caitlin Clark. She didn't want to follow in the footsteps of anyone else. She didn't have to be the next Bird or the next magician. Caitlin wasn't attempting to meet some legendary benchmark. She won't be the next big thing. No, she is the original Caitlin Clark. And that's more than sufficient. Rewriting the game for herself, she is forging her own route, 1 3-inch at a time. The parallels are wonderful, but they don't tell her tale. She's making her own. To be honest, that is far more thrilling.
You got a girl here who's box office in Caitlin Clark. She is box office. We can lament it all we want to, but the fact of the matter is Caitlin Clark is box office. And we got to get that out the way. And I'll get into all of that a little bit more in just a second because it's very, very important that we point this out. She fills seats. She brings the cameras. She brings national publicity. It's what she does.
There was truth hidden beneath all that drama, even though Stephen A. may have been angrily abusing his co-hosts and using every sports cliché in his assessment of Caitlin's brilliance. Actual reality. Clark is more than just a scorer. Wrapped in a headband and fire, she is a floor commander, a playmaker, a shot creator, a crowd magnet, and a stat-padding unicorn. Now, without some insane metaphors, it wouldn't be a Stephen A. rant. He compares her range to missile systems in an instant. The next he's discussing how defenders appear to have entered a horror film starring Caitlin Clark. He's not incorrect, let's be honest. It's like witnessing someone defuse a bomb with 0.8 seconds remaining when you watch Caitlin Clark play defense during a fast break. She is both everywhere and nowhere. She's already 3 moves ahead of you if you blink. She had already uploaded the highlight tape by the time defenders notice she has the ball. Indeed, it takes a little more than simply razor-sharp skills to have an MVP discourse. Leadership, consistency, effect on team performance, and so forth.